Hi girls, it is time for an August reading recap. Happy September. This has obviously been a big reading month for me because on top of this, I read 3 books on my phone. I don't know what got a hold of me, but I have been reading like a crazy lady. I have been reading as though reading is my job, and it is not. But let's get into everything that I read and my favorites and all of that kind of stuff. The very first book that I read in August was The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. I am going to share with you what I reviewed it first because this one was a complicated read for me, okay? So in my review, I wrote, really trying to remind myself that I'm rating this book and not the character's decisions. This book is written so beautifully and portrays the emotions of a breakup in the most real and raw way. However, I didn't love the decisions the character made along the way or the advice she received from friends and family. All of that aside, I absolutely love the way this was written. It felt like Lucy was speaking to you and telling her story while you were sitting with her. A very touching and cozy story after all. So I would highly recommend you read this in winter. I think it's a very wintry book. It takes place in New York City and has not like, the plot point doesn't have to do with Christmas, but there is like some stuff to do with Christmas and like whatever. This book was hard in the sense that like, you really aren't gonna agree with the way the character goes about things in this book. Honestly, I don't know that anyone would. Maybe people would. Maybe people would have a similar experience. But if you don't have a similar experience, I think you would struggle with this book. I did cry after I read this. Not like sob, but like a tear dripped down my cheek. Just one. So let that speak to whatever you want it to speak to. I rated this book 4 stars. And I wouldn't like outright recommend it. It wouldn't be at the top of my list to recommend. But if somebody picked this up at the store and was like, hey, should I read this? Is this a good book? I'd be like, yes. And it's not the kind of book that's like grips you and you're just turning the page so quickly and you just don't know what's going on. It's a very cozy read. And the next thing that I read in August, yes, I read Light Lark and Nightbane, and I loved these. I read these so fast. You couldn't have paid me money to put these down. Both of these were rated 5 stars. On my review for Light Lark, I put, it is impossible to expect anything that happens in this book. I'm stunned, obsessed, confused, all the things. Which is still how I feel about this book. Okay, this book was so good. Like, I don't know how to explain to you the reason it was good. Everything was a plot twist. Everything was confusing. Once you thought that you knew something, you were lost again in the next chapter, like in a good way. And I just really loved this book. I really love this book. All of the stuff that the author is posting on TikTok stresses me out. I'm just gonna be honest. And then for Nightbane, I felt like I was expecting what Isla was I felt like I was experiencing what Isla was experiencing with her. This book was so hard to put down. I would literally recommend this book to everyone. I haven't ever had a reading experience like this one. Because while this isn't like at the top of my list for my favorite fantasy books ever, it was a new reading experience for me where like when you're learning plot twists, like Isla is too, and to me, Isla is the female main character. To me, it made like the emotions while reading this book so much higher. So it's not that the plot itself was better than any of the other fantasy books that I've read before, but it's just the way she wrote it that it was ooh, eat it up. So I really love these. I would recommend these to anyone. I would tell anyone who's looking for a fantasy read to read these 2 because they're really quick to get into as well, and they're not super difficult to understand, and I think they're great. I think they're so great. The 3rd one comes out in November, so that will be at the top of my what I will read next list. This one will go quickly. This is Read Bottom Up. I rated it 3 stars. It's nothing crazy. If you want like a really quick, let me get through this, like an easy, really quick read, then I would say this one. It's literally all just emails and messages. I talked about it in one of my reading vlogs before. And it's literally, that's all that it is emails and messages. It was an experiment that these authors did, so there's nothing that you really learn in it. It kind of has a funny ending, and that's all I really say about it. Like, nothing crazy at all. The next book is A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Amanda Collins. I did not like this book. I found this book very boring. I rated it a 2-star, and I said this book just dragged on forever to me, and it did. Toward the end of this book, I was literally skipping like 2 chapters at a time. Like I would just skip it and I would still know exactly what was going on without any missing details. I don't know, to me, every single thing that could have been dragged out was dragged out, and this book could have been half the size of what it was, and the story itself wasn't even that interesting. So that's my personal opinion. I would not ever recommend this to anyone, including you. But after that, Apprentice to the Villain, which came out in August, I, of course, loved this book. I rated it 5 stars. I put, and now the wait for the next book. Hannah Mayer does a wonderful job at including everything you would want in a book. I love these books so much. I think if you're looking for the easiest possible fantasy book to read, I would recommend this. And the first book is called Assistant to the Villain. They're like so good. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if they're put in the YA section, but if you don't like spice, there's like really not any in here. I'm really trying to think. I don't think there is. But these books are so good. I am trying to think of like how I could explain them better to you. It's like this girl who really needs a job, so the villain of the town or whatever hires her by accident because they ran into each other in the woods. And so it follows that, like the stuff that the villain does, the stuff that the assistant does when she becomes his assistant, and all of those things. So it's really, really good, really funny. Like I laugh out loud in both of these books. I was laughing out loud constantly. I just think that they're so funny. I think they're so good. How many times can I say that? I don't know. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I also got a quote out of here that I really, really loved that I wanted to share with you. And it doesn't spoil anything, so don't worry. I was so sad that I finished this book so quick because I really do love these books. And there's only 2 out. I did love this quote. This was not the quote I was talking about, but it says, "You know as well as I, Tristan Maverine, that humans demonize what they cannot understand. It is our job to educate them, just to live the way we're meant to, with the knowledge that being called a monster does not make you one." It's so cute. Okay, it had occurred to her many times over that impossible was merely a word people use to describe limitations they wish for you to adhere to so you wouldn't upset the balance. I loved that. So like it's funny. It has like real life stuff to like that you can learn from. It's cutesy. It's adventurous. Like it's like when I wrote in my review, it's everything that you could ever want. It's everything that you could ever want. Okay, so next I read the first 3 in the Lost and Found series by Catherine Cowles. And funny enough, one of the people that I follow, Destiny Sidwell, maybe? I think that's her last name. She's like a big booktuber, whatever person. And she ended up reading a book by her. And I was like, oh my God, because I don't know how well known this author is. I found these at a Friends of the Library book sale, which some libraries do, and picked them up. These gave all the Wattpad vibes you could ever imagine. I gave all 3 of these 3 stars. I think I gave the second one 2 stars. No, I gave the third one 2 stars, and I gave these ones 3 stars. And when I give things 3 or 2 stars, it doesn't necessarily mean that I hate them, if that makes sense. So I gave these 2 3 stars because like I was entertained. I finished them in a relatively quick amount of time. I enjoyed them, but they weren't anything special by any means. It's like any book that you could find on Wattpad, but this one I rated 2 stars because I kind of was getting tired of the world of this by that point. And also, like, they all 3 say the same things. They say the same words over and over and over again. They use the same phrases. It's almost like the exact same 2 people living the exact same story with a couple twinges to make it a tiny bit different, if that makes any sense. So I think just by the 3rd one, I was getting really tired of the series. I was getting tired of hearing the same lingo over and over and over again because it wasn't like lingo that you would think would be used over and over and over again. You would think it was like a saying that one person had one time and that like stuck and was their thing. But they were all 3 saying it, all 3 people. So this book series though is about these people who live in the state of Washington, I'm pretty sure, or Colorado. I don't remember Colorado or Washington, I can't think. But I reviewed the first one. I said, if you like Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, you will also enjoy this, because these books are like romance, but they have like some crime in it, like real crime that could happen. And it is unbelievable to a certain extent that it would happen to all three of these people simultaneously, one after the other. But technically it could happen in real life, so they put it in this. But God, this family has really terrible luck. Anyways, the family that it mostly follows is the male main character in the first one, male main character in the second one, and female main character in the third one. So it's a brother, and a sister. And I'm pretty sure the other ones in the series are also about the family. Like, there are I don't know. I think there's 2 other books, but I'm trying to think about who they would be. Roan and Holt, Nash, Gray, Roan. I could have sworn there was another one, but maybe not. Anyways, if you're just looking for like stupid romance entertainment, then you'll like these. If you really enjoy Lucy Score, then you'll like these. And that's all I'm going to say. They're not terrible. They're not great. They're just something to read for entertainment and enjoyment, which sometimes is great whenever you've been reading a lot of fantasy. So after Lightlark and Nightbane, this was a great thing to, and Apprentice to the Villain, this is a great thing to jump into because I had high expectations, high reactions to all of those, and you know, sometimes you don't want to set yourself up for failure. So then I read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and wow. I'm still thinking about this book, okay? Like, I'm still, like, you know, there's books that you really, really, really love, like Lightlark and Nightbane, but like, I'm really not thinking about it too much. Like, I will just randomly be like, I have this thought about this book. This book, on my mind all the time. This book was written so beautifully. The ending was... like, everything about this book was just so beautiful. And I tend to feel that way whenever it's a book about someone from, like, adolescence to adulthood to death. Like, I think about, it's like their whole lifespan. I think about it really often because there's no, like, questions left unanswered. Like, there's nothing else to go on. So, like, this story is just over. You know what I mean? Like, in a lot of books, you can read a book and it's not over, okay? Like, you go, oh, I wonder if this would happen next or if this would happen next. But in this one, it's like you're just mulling over their story and you're just thinking about like everything. And her writing is so beautiful. The story was beautiful in like a tragic way, in like a heartbreaking way. In so many ways, this book was so wonderful. And I think that everyone who's into reading should read this book. And I know I'm really late to it and a lot of people probably already have read it, but y'all, this book was so good. I rated this book 5 stars. So then after that book, I read We Are All the Same in the Dark by Julia Heberlin, and I rated it 3 stars. I don't know if I just don't understand thrillers. Like, I feel like I just don't understand thrillers, okay? Because I read the We're All Liars or We Were Liars, whatever that one was, and I did not like that one either. So I'm wondering, like, do I just not get these? Because I was confused the whole time and I thought it was a good confused, but then I got to the ending and I was like, wait, what just happened? You know what I mean? But compared to other thrillers that I have read before, I did really enjoy this one, and I think that it would be worth a read. Like, it's not that I don't understand how things wrapped up or how things ended or like what happened. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. I just think that I feel confused for such a long time, and so many things are normally happening in thrillers that like I get lost. But I also haven't been reading thrillers that are like super duper popular, so maybe I just need to look into some like known really good thrillers before I start trying to find my own. Maybe then I'll have a basis of like what is a good thriller and what is not a good thriller. But this one was good enough. I mean, again, this is another book where like, unless someone picked it up off a shelf themselves and said, ooh, should I read this? I don't think I would recommend it. That leads us to the books that I read on my phone, and it is the Ruined Lands trilogy by Lindsay Pogue. The first one is called City of Ruin. I rated this book 4 stars, and I wrote, I already miss these 2 main characters. Grayson and Celine were so refreshing to read about. There were reasons for some lack in conversation between the two, but open communication when appropriate. No third act or even second act breakup, in parentheses. What? This book was nothing crazy, but so much fun to read and such a cool story. And I genuinely feel that way about all 3 of the books. They were so entertaining, and they weren't like so insane that it felt like heavy to read or like it took a ton of brain power to read. So it was like fantasy, but the same as Assistant and Apprentice to the Villain. This one is like chill to read. Like, you're not like overdoing it. You're not having to think super duper hard. And I really enjoyed them. So again, the first one's called City of Ruin, the second one is called Sea of Storms, and the last one is called Land of Fury. And Land of Fury was definitely my favorite, and it is the highest reviewed as well in the trilogy, but I still like loved the first and second so much, and I'm attached like to all the characters. Okay, something about these books like really made you feel close with the characters. Definitely the female main characters more than the male main characters, because the male main characters didn't have a ton of chapters in their point of view, but this is dual point of view, and technically it says that it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, the first one, and I'm pretty sure the second and third one are retellings as well, the second one being a Greek mythology retelling, and the third one being a, for some reason I can't remember, but that one is also a retelling. I want to say like Rapunzel or something. I don't know. Anyways, I loved these. I found them so entertaining, and I would highly recommend to anyone. And I actually got City of Ruins for free on Stuff Your Kindle Day like maybe a year or two ago, and just haven't read it. I really saved my phone books for if I'm just bored somewhere and I didn't bring a book and I want to read. So that is why I started that one, and I'm literally so happy that I did. I put all of them on my TBR because I would like the physical copy on my shelf. That's how much I like them. Like, I want the physical copy. I want to be able to share them. I love reading physical. I'm a physical copy girly for all books. But if I read a book on my phone and I don't really love it, then I don't care to get a physical copy. But I love loaning out books. I love letting people borrow my books because then I can share the enjoyment of reading them with other people. Which reminds me, I need to talk to my friends because I've loaned out some books and I want to see if they've read them and if they enjoyed them. Anyways, girls, it's obviously September now, so I've started my first read of September, which is, of course, Daydream by Hannah Grace. I love Hannah Grace. She's probably my second favorite romance author, first being Ali Hazelwood, I'm sure you know. But you'll get to hear more about this one in my next wrap up. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.